Hi guys, welcome to this review of The End and the Death Volume 3 and Part 3. We have to talk about stuff, guys, because I was extremely excited for the previous book, and when I talked about it, and of course the first book, and this is not the case exactly here. So Dan Abnett hyped us all by saying that the emperor is going to take the center stage. Jesus, yes, and not that he didn't, but he kind of didn't, in a way. We are going to talk about, of course, how he did not and how he did take the center stage, because we don't have a lot of the emperor throughout the series in general, whether that be anything with 40k or anything with 30k, and with the Horus Heresy books. So whenever the Emperor is supposed to be on stage, well, he's not. Okay, so guys, in this live stream and video, we're going to, go through the book as quickly as possible, because there's really not that much to sink in. I mean, the things that we do have to talk about are important, of course, but it's not like the previous book, which was very dense and it was 18 hours, and this book is only 14 hours. And if you hear something in the background, it's just my puppies. So, guys, in this video, we're going to also talk about what awesome ending this book has. Okay, never mind that. And by the way, I have my first Joy toy right here. It's an Imperial Fist, obviously. This is for my birthday. I just got it. My birthday is not today, but I got it in advance. It's a gift, and of course it looks kind of transparent because it's yellow and my green screen is green, but yeah, I don't know, it kind of takes it it takes away from the figure, but it's a great freaking figure. I'm going to make some shots. Yeah, I always wanted to have Joy toy. Anyway, I have two McLaren figures. They're huge, but they're not as good of a quality as this. So, the end and the death. So this book is extremely dramatic, guys, and usually I love that about anything that's 40k. This time I'm not really sure, because I do think that some scenes do take a ton of time to get to the point, and that is kind of a bummer, because it's really a ton of filler at the end of the day. I mean, how many times you can repeat what Horus thinks in his head, what he hears as thoughts. I mean, we did had that in the previous book, and of course we do have to have it here, because we do have to know how he feels and how he thinks about the fight with the Emperor, and everything has to do with his communication and how chaos is basically upon him. So in the previous lore, we thought that he is totally deluded, and he kinda is in a way, but he is more in control than not. The things that he is deluded in, I mean the aspects that he is actually deluded in, are that, well, he has his own free will, but he also thinks that he can trust chaos, which is stupid. And I'm sorry, I hit the mic. It's stupid to think that you can trust chaos, and a lot of people actually that are the readers, I mean the fans, the fellow fans, do think that you can trust chaos, but this book proves that you can't. How can you think that you can trust something that is absolutely evil? Guys, they're inherently evil. They're created by the evil of humanity. All the negative qualities that people have, they are that, and each and every one of them represents a bunch of very negative qualities, and when they give you something, it's to the expense of something else that they're going to take from you. And Horus was a tool for them to just take out the Emperor, literally, just make him go away, so they can have a physical being that actually rules not only Terra, but basically the whole Imperium. And maybe someday, if he were to live, maybe Horus will conquer the whole galaxy. Who the heck knows? and he thought that he was in control, that they would just give him everything, and he is in control of the powers themselves, but he's not in control of whether or not he has them or he doesn't have them. When he decided to let go, I mean, yes, he decided to do that, so that is his decision. Okay, but then Chaos wanted to punish him for that, so what? You know? They're like, oh no, 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 you don't. So they did show their true colors to Horus, letting him know that we are still the bosses and you are our, you know what. So that was very eye-opening for Horus at the very end, and I'm sorry that I skipped to the very end. But really, this book is not as dense as the previous one, you know, and that and that's yeah. In the end and the Dead Volume 2, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, there's the spirit of Ferris Manus, and the spirit is talking to Sanguinius, and Sanguinius is just walking towards his own death, and he knows it, and Rogel Dorn is out there somewhere, we don't know where, in a pocket dimension, suffering for millennia or more, and he is so resilient, so amazing. I mean, this whole character development, what Rogel Dorn went through, is just wow, you know, what an amazing guy. What a Primarch. And then Sanguinius, what a Primarch again, what an amazing warrior, the best warrior out of all the Primarchs, and he did made some amazing moves on Horus. And speaking about that, guys, about the battle between Sanguinius and Horus, I did start to make it, as some of you know, in animation form to a point, but then I saw that nobody actually cared about the last part, so because the battle is so freaking long and there's a lot of that Horus being in his head and not a lot of substantial things happening, you know, not a lot of actual fight, I'm just gonna skip to the end and just cover the last 5 minutes of the fight, because otherwise, first, you know, I do want to finish this, so at least that's how I'm going to finish it, and then make a whole like short movie out of the whole fight. And then again, it's just fair that the whole battle is in the book, and I'm not just making it into this. So a huge bunch, like 20-30 minutes of the battle, that's still mostly Horus in his head, but still, it's going to be just in the book if you like to hear that the way that it should be, and the rest, what I can make visual, I would just make it in one part and finish the whole thing. You're still going to have the meat of the battle on screen, at least somehow visualized. So, you know, and if there's something that it's worth visualizing in the new book, I will try to make, of course, the battle between Horus and the Emperor somehow. We'll see about that, guys. Can't promise anything. I want to see a real interest from people, because as a fan, I also want to just have the visuals of how these things happen. And we will not have a movie anytime soon about the main storyline. So this art is amazing, but if it can only move, if just cannot say this, if this can talk, you know, animation, it's gonna be amazing. So I want to do that as close as I possibly can do it with what I have in AI and the AI art and all those things. That's just a side note. And hey, Optic in the chat, by the way. So continuing with the book, throughout this we do get some snippets from Malkador, which were great because we understood that, you know, the Emperor is supposed to go to the Golden Throne, but not, because the Golden Throne will sustain him, and also the Emperor is going to sustain the Golden Throne somehow. I'm not sure how that works. It's not explained. But also that maybe this is a mistake, but Malkador will not say, because from where he's standing, he's not even sure about what the heck is happening. There's some character development for the Perpetuals that play a key role here to bring the Emperor the unattained blade. So that's great. I mean, those scenes were greatly written. I just love Dan Abnett and how he does anything. really. But you know, sometimes he just goes just off the rails with so much over dramaticism. And as I said, I do love that because it does immerse me. But whatever Horace had to fight or talk, it was so long. It's literally a bit going out of proportion because, okay, maybe if some of the readers do not like to get deeper into things, like really deep, because in my time with 40k, which is like 3 years now, I'm surprised of how many people actually cannot analyze what they have read at all, so they just gloss over everything, and for them everything is surface level. And here Dan Abnett, it's like he knew that, so he tried to write and emphasize and emphasize and emphasize how much Horace is thinking and what he is thinking, how he feels, but like again and again and again and again. So the people that are out the back of the row, okay, you people, yes, you, then that can't actually think very deeply or don't care to, they can actually get the idea finally. That is how this felt. It was so prolonged, and yeah, I mean, I love deep things. The reason that I love 40k is because there's actually a lot of layers, and there's a lot of food for thought and just intrigue. There's really a depth there, but that was like overreaching to me. Yeah, that's all I can say. I don't want to repeat my own self about that. And I love everything about Gabriel Loken and his story. I don't like how he died. That was kind of unfair. Not that this is objective at all, this particularly, but I think that he died just really quick. And yes, it was evil, and I don't know what happened. Sorry, I don't know what happens with Erebus in the future. Haven't checked, or I knew but I forgot. Would have to really check if he's still alive, because if he is, I want that freaking bastard to die in a lot of pain. I mean, Erebus is the reason that so many bad things happen. That Horus turned to chaos. That that freaking Primarch. That's so, yeah, Logar. That Logar is what he is. Of course, that is also his fault, and what happened to Horus is also his own fault. But Erebus was the initiator, so he killed so many good people in one way or another, and you can say that he killed Horus in one way or another by the fact that he initiated his way to corruption under chaos. Okay, so the key things here, the Emperor, what I really didn't like about the book is that the Emperor actually did not take center stage. So let's just get on to this point because it's the most important point. He did not take center stage as I wanted him to, because the way that Dan Abnett explained it on the interviews, guys, was that, because the Emperor always like the figure that everyone else are talking about, and they talk to him, but a lot of times it's just not direct. It's just, let's say, Malkador is explaining his experience with the Emperor. Then there's the Primarchs that do the same. They talk maybe to the Emperor, but he's not talking back or something like that. And here, mostly what the Emperor said, as far as I remember, was through one of the custodies again at the end of the book, kind of like not exactly at the end, but somewhere. Because, as always, this battle between Horus and the Emperor was sprinkled around the whole book, like it was with Horus and Sanguinius. So there was like direct line from the Emperor, which is when he sees Horus for the first time. He's just walking in the room. He sees, the corpse of Sanguinius, all those things, and he's like, "You killed my son." and he's looking through Horus, talking to Chaos, but of course Horus does not realize that immediately. He does a bit later, but at first glance he's just up in his own ass, and his ego is just pumping up to the moon, and he thinks that, oh, my dad is talking to me and I killed Sanguinius, and no, he was talking to Chaos behind your ass. You know, and he was like, you killed my son. And then the other line was, why? And I'm like, okay, is that it? And okay, the Emperor is going to ask Chaos why. That's the stupidest question ever. I mean, Emperor, I thought that you were wiser. And is that how you want to write the Emperor, Dan? Is that how you do want to write him? Okay, I mean, it is dramatic, but I don't think that it gives any good points to the Emperor. I mean, he has very few points from previous books, because the way that he was portrayed, it's pretty bad, negative. Now he's pretty much portrayed like just a guy that, yes, has a ton of power. Yes, he lived for more than 10,000 years probably, and throughout this time he made a lot of mistakes. The other perpetuals were not in agreement with his methods, so he's not a saint, he's not perfect. Okay, we got that. And then Dan just cleaned everything by showing us that the Emperor is selfless and he gave up the godly power, whereas Horus didn't want to give up the power by the same, by the same token, so to speak. In the end, he did gave up the power, but he wanted it right back when he got scared of what was actually happening, that he is going to die. So that was extremely pathetic, and of course we want to see a contrast and the differences between these two, because Horus is obviously the guy that's like the wannabe emperor. The one son that, yeah, he has talent, but he is way over his head, and the only way that he can defeat his father is to take extra power. He was never going to reach that level of power as his father if he's not cheating. And getting this power from the warp, from Chaos directly, it is cheating. So he is absolutely pathetic, and we found out right away when everything was like poof, and he was and he left. He dropped the power, and then Chaos were like, no, we're not giving it back to you. First you have to suffer. But by that time, the Unattain blade was already in him, because the Emperor managed to stab him, and that was it. And that blade will kill anything. And probably even if Horus was full power back on, which I think he wasn't by the time that he was stabbed, he was still going to die. But Dan Abnett didn't want to probably make that clear. Not really sure. So it was what it was. Point being that, Horus proved himself to be a pathetic guy. He does have at least some dignity, integrity, when he was starting to understand that he is very badly tricked by Chaos. But then again, he has to feel stupid for doing something that anyone else would see, which means that he was within his own ass. He was ego driven, and the ego prevented him to see the truth, which is a very cautionary tale, a very classic way to say, hey, don't get into your own butt. You have to believe in yourself. Of course, you have to have some self-esteem, but you have to be objective, and you have to stay humble with whatever abilities and powers you have. And the abilities and powers that one can achieve on their own are the strongest, and they have higher value. They cannot be just taken the way that just given on a silver platter powers could be. that depends on the nature of the powers, but in the matter of principle, some things in life are like this. So if you follow this type of a sentiment or logic, you can reach that conclusion, and so on, guys. So, okay, Horus has some redeeming qualities at the end, and yes, the Emperor did say, when we're talking about what the heck Emperor did say, is that I will wait for you, I forgive you, my son, I will wait for you, something like that. So we do have an opening for Horus to eventually come back in some shape or form. And of course, the differences between the old lore and the new lore was that in the old lore, the Emperor destroys Horus completely. He destroys his soul. So there's just nothing left from Horus. But now, Horus is just dead. So he can come back like Sanguinius and anyone else, really. And how about what happened to Rogo? I really want to know what happened to Rogo Dorn, because here he's still alive. So if there's another book that gives more light on what happened to Rogo, that's gonna be amazing. We all want more primers to come back. I think that we all want that, because a new era with more Primarch, that's gonna be so cool, and the dynamic between them is going to be amazing to explore. Now the dynamic between Gilman and the Lion, what's gonna happen there? They will probably have some conflict. We gotta see that. Okay. And so, guys, because I'm disappointed, because I just wanted to see the Emperor more. I just wanted him to speak, and as any author, when you write a character like that who is so high level and so mysterious, when you try to make him speak, is just a huge risk that you have to take. How you're going to write the character, aren't people going to be like furious about some things? But then again, people can be furious about absolutely anything. So I think that he should try. We do want to know how the Emperor is, and to just get to know him better. Because the emphasis is that he is a human that makes mistakes, but in his heart he really wants to do the better deed, just the greater good, basically. The greater good, that's the new image that Dan Abnett built for the Emperor with the last 3 books of the Siege of Terra. So it's interesting. I love how he did that. It makes all the sense in the world. And the fact that he decided, or GW and him decided, that Horus should not be dead, I mean, that is cool. Because if he returns someday, it seems like that he will definitely be on the side of his father and not on the side of Chaos. Because Horus, as he died, he smiled. It really seemed that he felt that, okay, my dad's still the bigger person, and I realized the errors of my ways, and there's love and warmth in my heart that my dad actually forgave me. I don't know how Horus is going to forgive himself for brutally murdering his beloved brother, like his favorite brother, and then his dad. But I don't know, it's hard, when you're a writer, to just come out of a corner. When you write yourself into a corner, you gotta be a very good writer then. And because I really want to hear and imagine what the Emperor would say, that's what I did my recent video, if the Emperor of Mankind had a warp transmission, or I don't know how I call the video by this point. Okay, let me see. I make several titles for that, so when I make a video, I have several titles in my head, and I don't know what I ended up with, but yeah, if the Emperor had a warp transmission with Sanguinius, that is the idea, guys. So I took the liberty of trying to write the Emperor, what he would say and what Sanguinius would say, and obviously that's not easy, but I just love the characters, and I don't care. I mean, if somebody is like, I'm not sure if that's how the Emperor will be, because I'm not the official writer. I'm just a fan that really loves everything that has to do with 40k, and especially the main characters, and it's just my passion. So whatever comes out of me, and it's just a matter of inspiration. And of course, I'm basing how I'm thinking the Emperor or the other characters are going to talk by everything that I've already read, but by everything that I already know. So it's like making an inner psychological profile of someone and then trying to figure out what they would say in a particular situation. So that's how I work. So whatever happens is just, a product of my inspiration and love for the Emperor and the Primarchs. Probably that's what I will do if I can do these videos in the future. That's what I would do. So yeah, guys, I would give this book maybe a 7 out of 10, and the previous book for me was more like 10 out of 10. And this is a whole story. The most impressive book was definitely the second one. Is the whole story is good, of course, one of the best stories ever. But I do think that too much time is spent with some of the characters, and sometimes you do lose track of exactly everything that is happening. Some scenes are pretty clear, but some scenes are not pretty clear by the way that things are written. And yeah, it kind of loses my attention sometimes, and I have to repeat some parts, and that's really not good, because I'm super concentrated when I listen to the book. And it's absolutely amazingly read as well, but by Jonathan Keeble. I think he's just marvelous. Sometimes when he is trying to voice all the characters, for example Horus, he loses the tone of the voice just very, very, very few times, and he sounds like the previous character, and I'm like, is that Horus that's talking? Yeah, it's Horus, but he sounds like the previous character. Just he got distracted probably, but it happens, it happens. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I I honestly just want to know what happened to the other Primarchs that are lost, or the ones that are dead. Maybe we can get something out of the warp again. I would love that. And he wrote perfectly Ferrus Manus, and I haven't read a lot about Ferrus Manus in general, so to get more of his character was pretty cool. I thought that it matched what I imagined him to be like. It was really great. But whatever I can get from the others, I would love that. And I really love the Lion book as well, and how he was portrayed. I forgot if Dan Abnett was the author of that. Gotta check. But I know that it's not easy to write Primarchs or the Emperor, but I really want to see the Emperor speak. So yeah, I'm going to do something about that, guys, basically. And if you like to support these videos, you can do that on Patreon, or whatever you can. Links are down below. And of course, I'm coaching and doing everything that I can at OnlyFans, in the meaning that I'm doing literally coaching and helping people, and everything has to do with fitness, health, relationship advice, just all the things that everyone needs in life, to know how to communicate with other people and with the opposite sex, and whatever issue you may have, I'm there. So all of those things are just platforms for me to help, and for you to support me if you wish, because to use AI especially needs to be paid constantly. So yeah, there's that, guys, for now. But great book, looking forward to the next book and to the next lore and everything that has to do with 40k and Henry Cavill's project. I'm also going to talk about that. So yeah, guys, I love ya, and hopefully you will have an amazing weekend. Here we go. This is everything that I offer at OnlyFans. Some people are like, what's with the OnlyFans? I have to say every time that it's my coaching platform. It's just the good side that I can upload stuff. It's not like you open it and you see books. There's no such thing. You just open the creator that you're interested in and you see only that. So here you go. Okay guys, so have a great weekend, see you soon, and of course share everything that you can think about. I'm always interested in your opinions, or whatever you want me to cover, just let me know. So from me and from this Imperial Fist here, good night.